You are now listening to the District 2 Sports Podcast, available on Podbean, Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. It costs you nothing to smash that like button. Leave us a review and follow District 2 Sports on Facebook, X, and Instagram for more content and coverage. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
All right, it's Gregory here with the District 2 Sports Podcast, and we have another great episode for you tonight. We are in the Farmville region. We're talking to the Hampden-Sydney men's basketball team. We have Coach Caleb Kimbrough and senior forward Shane Fernald there for the Tigers. We're going to talk about last season, 23-6 overall, 14-2 in ODAC. Won the first weekend of games. They got to host there at Hampden-Sydney, beat Brenathan and Pitt Bradford before losing in the Sweet 16 there to the Redlands. A team that we'll be playing here in a couple weeks too, so it'll be interesting to see that. But we're going to talk about this year's team, how they move forward without Adam Brazel, who was a big part of that team for scoring and leadership, and how Shane and the other guys are going to step up and lead this team. So our first question is going to be about last year, and we have a little a fun segment at the very end with Shane, do some rapid fire that we've been doing with all the players. But hope you guys enjoy, and just give it a listen. Thank you. All right, Coach, I want to start with you first. Kind of your overall thoughts on last season. You guys go 23-6, 14-2 overall there in the conference in the ODAC. Hosted the first weekend, you beat Brenathan, beat Pitt Bradford, and kind of take on Redlands there in the Sweet 16 with a loss. But it's kind of your overall thoughts on the season last year and how you guys kind of managed to attack the offseason as well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we had a phenomenal year. I was really proud of the guys. I thought we scheduled put together a difficult schedule, and we're able to really kind of carry some momentum from the previous year over to taking care of business in some of those games. The interesting part is I didn't think we got it done towards the end. We lost in the quarters of the ODAC championship, and we won those first two rounds, which kudos to our guys and to the really the home court advantage. It was like a weird ending to the season. Not just, like you lose in the quarters. Lynchburg played a good game, and we didn't show up. Then you kind of take care of good business against Brenathan. Then you play this like helter-skelter style of ball. That coach is in our league now, which is interesting. And then you play that style of ball again in the next game, like both in the NCAA tournament. So it's that was different for us. But to make it to the Sweet 16, like that was, I think there was a lot of I give a lot of credit to the team because I know there was a lot of outside pressure just to follow up like this historic run that the team had. And I felt like the team handled that the best they could. And by the team, I meant like the coaches and players and managers. I mean, I thought we really tried our hardest to talk to each other, communicate, make sure we knew this was this year's team, and we were trying to maximize what we could do with this group. And it's going to be different, but it's going to be great. And man, there's so many phenomenal memories from the year. I'm proud of the guys. Like they really, if you like that year that we had is like in a lot of cases, what a lot of people would want to do is get to the NCAA tournament and go on a run. And I don't want to ever take that for granted. Winning a basketball game and being able to play past the regular season. So I was very, very thankful that we got to experience those things with that group.
Coach, I was most impressed last year at the NCAA tournament. There was a little small podcast group called District 2. They got a chance to come to the press conference, they asked a couple questions. So I was really happy about that. So, but, in all sincerity, transitioning to this year somewhat, and I don't even know how you put a price tag on this. I mean, and I don't mean to be doom and gloom either. So, and Shane, I don't mean that as well, but you lost three key guys and, all guards. Adam, you lose Nick, and you lose Eamon. And, I was there for the Brenathan game. Amon just took over right there in just a split second. I mean, he was knocking down threes from anywhere and everywhere right there and just turned that entire game, lopsided basically. So, I was looking at some stats. You guys averaged 80.5 points a game last year. You lose 40% of your points. And then I thought this was a very big stat right here. You lose 119 made threes out of your 225 made threes, basically 53% of your threes. How do you, not that you don't have players that can't come back and do that, but how do you go from here to there and not miss those guys at all? And I ain't even got to their senior leadership at all.
Oh, you can't. I mean, we miss them. Like we all, I feel like every year. Like I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, I mean, you get veteran guys who are committed to the program the way, guys are. I think here when they get through their senior year, I mean, heck yeah, you miss those guys. Like I don't care if they're the guys that made all the threes or our manager Peyton Zeitler. Like these guys have, I mean, that they've committed in a certain way that's like you can't replicate that. You have to have experiences together to feel that. And yeah, we're recreating that with this group. I think like I just said, I mean, this group is different, but this group is, or we're learning, how this group is going to be successful. And it's fun. It's frustrating at times. It's different, which we're learning. You've got to rebuild or sometimes build from scratch new relationships. And, it's all, to me, that's the fun of the whole thing, and we certainly have a lot of talent to work with. So like, we're really excited about that. So I don't think you replace like Amon, Nick, AB, Payday. You don't replace those guys, but we never try to do that. We try to expand the roles of the guys we got in the program, try to bring guys in who we feel like really add to, we call them like cultural adds, man. Like who's got the character, who's got the work ethic, the commitment. And man, we've got a phenomenal group right now. And I feel like every day we're getting a little bit better, and we just keep working at it.
Shane, I'll ask you, it's not like you guys play the Sisters of the Poor by no means at any point in time. So what about last year's run prepared you for this year? I mean, you lose to Lacrosse first game out, and then, the only other game you've lost is Randolph-Macon. So how does last year's run, get you guys ready for this year?
Yeah, I think when you go through hard things together, you grow closer. I think we focus on that a lot. It's not about like an X's and O's that you can execute or, like a defensive coverage that you can get through. It's more, how close are you? How connected are you? And I think we're doing that every day. We focus on it. We talk about it a lot. But yeah, I mean, we just go through things together. That's like the ultimate bond. And I think we did a lot of that last year. Even though you lose those guys, you still have a core group, and then you welcome in the new guys, welcome in the freshmen. So yeah, I mean, I think obviously we scheduled hard last year. We won a lot of games, but I think also it leads us into this year with growing closer together. Extra year of guys. We had a lot of young guys play a lot of minutes last year too, so they gained some valuable experiences, and as a team we did too. So yeah, I think it just flows right into connection and being together.
Shane, I asked a similar question to another player, but obviously you guys played for a national championship just 2 years ago. But last year you guys make it to the Sweet 16. I mean, how do you see last season? Do you see it as, hey, I'm thankful to be at the Sweet 16, or do you say, hey, we didn't get back to the Final Four? How do you see last year?
Yeah, we talk about this a lot, obviously. It's a big expectation. Like once we went to the national championships, I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I want to do this every year. But we talk a lot about it. It's not a failure. We talked with the older guys who left and still support the program. They were proud of us and, glad we got to experience those things. But I mean, you always want to win the whole thing. It's always great to even be there. But I think last season, we went through a lot of stuff. Like we weren't like fully in tuned all the time, but I think we got through those things, and that's what I'm most proud of. So we had some bumps in the road, but we kind of took them on the chin, kept going. And obviously, yeah, like Coach Kimbrough said, we had a weird ending to the year. We didn't go as far as we wanted to in the ODAC tournament, which kind of left a bad taste in our mouth. And then we got to host, thankfully enough, the first weekend, which obviously Kirby can be crazy, and that helps us a lot. So yeah, I mean, I'm proud of our season last year. Obviously you want to win the whole thing every year, but I definitely don't see it as a disappointing or failure of a season. Sweet 16, 16 teams left out of 400 or so. So it's a blessing, and it's great. You obviously want to win the whole thing, but yeah, I'm super proud of our team last year for getting through the things that we got through for sure.
And then, kind of talking about the locker room, when an Adam Brazel does move on, what's the immediate, mindset among returning players about how to replace his production?
Yeah, I think just shoot step back threes. No, I'm just kidding. He was a great player. He brought a lot of attention. We talk about that now. With our balance, we don't have Adam Brazel. He was here for 5 years, a big part of the program for 5 years. And yeah, we talk about our balance now. We don't have a guy who's going to go for 30 like Adam did, but we do have a lot of guys who are willing to buy into their roles. Play different roles than they did last year. I think is a big thing. Just because we're a new team, we want to get the most out of this team. So I think buying into our roles is huge and just balanced. We have a little bit of everything. We want to embrace that. Figure out the best ways to use all of that. So yeah, it's definitely different without Adam. Obviously, on the court and off the court, he was a big culture guy for us, and obviously a really good basketball player too. So it was different. I haven't experienced college without Adam until this year, so it was different. But I think we're embracing it. And guys are buying into roles. So it's good.
Coach, I'm gonna ask you, Coach, to start off with, and then I'll get to Shane. So last year I was able to see those first, couple rounds of the NCAA tournament and got the chance to see Shane play in person. I wrote down a comment about who he reminds me of with his style of play and what all he does. So I'm going to ask you first, Coach Kimbrough, and then I want to hear from Shane, and then I'm going to read you exactly what I wrote.
You want me to tell you who I think he reminds me of? Or everybody?
His playing style,
everybody says Jokic. Everybody says, okay, I think, man, he's a Sengun. I don't know if you've seen Sengun. I think, he can be related to his game a lot. I think those two are the two that come to mind for me. Don't ask Shane this question. No telling what he's going to say. But, no, I think those two would be, very, very skilled. Big man. You got a big man with guard skills that can pass. There's not a lot of those guys out there that stand out like the two I just mentioned.
Your turn, Shane.
I would love to think the best player in the world is my comparison. I love Jokic, obviously. I watch him a lot, but me and Coach actually talk about it a lot. I think Sengun is a little more, methodical with this stuff. I think Jokic, a lot of the action runs through him, and he makes a lot of plays out of it. But I think with Sengun, he's very, patient, lets the game come to him. He might not give you like an NBA equivalent of 40 points like Jokic might, but he definitely controls the game in a way that's very methodical and kind of patient. And I like to think that I carry some of those similar traits. I think defensively, me and Jokic are kind of similar, a little slower, but we got good hands and try to make up for that. But yeah, I think those two, me and Coach talk about it a lot. But yeah, I think those two, it's obviously two of the best players in the world. So it's great praise, but similarities are there for sure, I think.
So just to let you know, I didn't quite make it to the NBA level, but I did consider you a unicorn. I wanted to let you know that you are definitely a unicorn. So this is what I wrote. And I watch Gonzaga day in and day out. I'd watch them every night if I could. I'm a huge Carolina fan, no doubt, but I would watch Gonzaga all day long. So this is what I wrote. Reminds me of Drew Timme from Gonzaga from a few years ago. If you need points, he can. If you need rebounds, he will. And if you need passing or leadership, definitely. So that was my comment from almost a year ago. So I just wanted to let you know that I put you in that aura, and I can appreciate your game because here I am 5'11" stretching, and I was always beating it down in the middle and looking for somebody to pass to because I couldn't shoot a lick. So but you got to be beating that department all day long and twice on Sunday. But no, I enjoy watching you play, so I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know if he played like him, but he looks like Kevin Fitzmaugel. They're from West Virginia back in the day. I don't know if you remember him or not. It might be before Shane's years.
I'm not. Maybe you could. Maybe you just put me on to something. I'll look into it. But.
It was a bruiser.
Yeah, Coach, for you, come up this year. I know we're still a young season. But did you anticipate the offensive adjustment there, going from 4th in offensive scoring last year to 9th this year? And how did you maybe attack that, going to the offseason? How are we going to replace those minutes and scoring?
Maybe some defensive stuff I'd probably get excited about, or rebounding. Maybe I'd get excited about that one. But I think our offense is going to be just fine. But like you said, like I don't think I worry about like a statistic this early in the year. I think we're watching film, and I think Shane said it well. I mean, we just have a lot more versatility. Our game last year was a lot of, really 2-man game. We played a lot through Adam. We played a lot through Adam and Shane. We learned how to move weak side when that activity was going on, according to how people would play it. And this year, it's like, man, we need to get the ball moving more. That means, you need to know there's not as much standing, right? Like last year, we could be spaced, and then there may be like a subtle movement according to how the defense guards one thing. This year, we may have to make multiple reads, and there may have to be multiple reversals. But, I think we got a team with a lot of athleticism. I think we could play big. I think we could play small. We could be quick. We could beat you up in the half court. I don't think that we know exactly how to do that yet, and that's what we're working at. I think, in the early games we scored, or we got out and ran, and we drove it, and we got guys that are skilled, and we played that way. And now we've just got to learn, as defenses are a little bit more sound, as people have film on you and they know who you are, what are the next actions? What's our go-to thing, and what's the secondary action? And we've really been working hard on that. We've had a lot of practices between our kind of cluster of games. So I'm glad we have, because it's allowed us to really take a step back and reflect, and then, take a look at some of these things. We're improving on it.
And Coach, I was going to ask you real quick, or Shane, I guess I should say, I'm going to play Coach Kimbrough just a minute, because I did find one little crack in the surface of Shane Fernald, just one. Okay, because you're shooting 38% from the field. A little, I'm sure that'll pick up as the games go on. You are 3rd on the team in assists, but the only thing I'm going to need you to do is maybe pick it up at the free throw line just a hair. 65% right now. I think we're going to need to get up towards 80, 85. I'm sure it's coming, right?
Yeah, actually, funny enough, we played Pfeiffer earlier this year, and they were in like a late game foul situation. And I had the ball, and their coach is really excited that he got to foul me. And obviously the percentage doesn't show it early on in the season, but I think I'm a great free throw shooter. And someone on our bench, was messing around. I was like, "It's the best free throw shooter on our team." And I've kind of been in a slump since then. So maybe a little reverse psychology there. But no, it's early on. Hopefully get that number up. But yeah, I'm confident in it for sure.
All right. So I'll ask both of you guys this, and I think the kid was injured last year, so I think that's the reason why I didn't know who he was and where he was from and his heritage, I guess. What does Santana Lynch mean to this team?
Go ahead, Shane.
When we talk about versatility and athleticism, like how both me and the coach have said, that's what we're talking about. He's played the 4 for us this year, and we recruited him as a point guard at high school. He was a point guard for his high school team. So he's very versatile, especially defensively. He's quick, but he's also kind of long and athletic. So he can just about guard 1 through 5, definitely 1 through 4, and he brings this downhill attack on offense that really helps us out, spacing the floor. When we get out in transition, and Tana has the ball, we kind of know what we're going to get out of him. And he's just all over the place, like offensive rebounds. I think he had maybe 6 at EMU last game, and he attacks it hard. He crashes the glass. He willingly guards the other team's best wing or best kind of post guy most of the time. So yeah, a lot of versatility, a lot of athleticism. And we're working on getting him a little more emotion kind of into the game a little bit, get him smiling a little bit. He's very calm out there, but he brings a lot to our team, a different dynamic that we haven't seen, especially last year since he was hurt.
Well, I'm not going to pretend like I've seen y'all play this year, so I won't even act like that. But, what does it mean when you can go 3 or 4 guards on offense, and then, 3 guards and you, Shane, and then you've got Alex, out there. I just noticed he just so happens to have 15 blocks already. So what does it mean? If you get beat on on the off the dribble or a blow by or whatever, and he's back there. I mean, does that help you guys out at all?
Yeah, like funny enough, today in practice, I told them the way the other 4 guys on the court guard is dependent on if I'm in or if you're in. If Alex is in, you can pressure the ball. You can, your guy might get a step on you, but Alex is going to be there. We call it clean up on aisle AC. We have these film clips, and whenever he gets a big block, we throw that in the film and get hype about it. But I mean, yeah, the 3-guard lineup is dynamic. All of our guards do a little bit different things, and they're all really high IQ basketball players. So I think when you put that combination, with me and William Britt, kind of like 4s who can kind of get out on the perimeter a little bit with 3 guards roaming around, and then obviously AC in the middle, his size in Division III is kind of unmatched. So yeah, I think it's dynamic. Everyone does a little bit of different things. I think we're learning now. How to play with each other, how to read, like what guys do what really well and put those guys in those positions.
Coach, going back to what I was talking about as far as those early season stats, 2 things you mentioned, the defense and rebounding. You guys are 3rd in defense and 2nd in rebounding in the conference. But kind of leading to my question is, you've been coaching for a while. Have you typically seen the defense kind of stand up maybe early in the season and you maybe catching up with the offense maybe, as you get closer to conference play? Or what have you seen in your years coaching as far as that goes?
I think with the teams that I coach, we spend just because we spend so much time on it in practice, it's the bulk of what we do. I would say, early on, especially, we feel like it's something that we have control over. It's just, the offensive end, we're very basic, going into the first however many, few weeks of the season. And, we like to think that our offensive philosophy, though, even when basic, allows us to be confident and like have a purpose behind what we're doing. And so, I would say that our focus is the way we defend, and on both ends of the floor, it's going to be the way we rebound. And I think we have the ability. That's something I'm really excited about with this team. I mean, I think this team has the ability to be, maybe one of the better defensive teams to come through here. It's like we just have to – we're playing it like it in spurts. And, I don't think it's because we lack of want to. It's, just learning what we're doing and how we do it.
Coach, I'm looking at your, basically your top 6 or 7 players. You've got 3 sophomore basically playing every game, and you've got, Shane in there as a senior. He's the gray beard, and then Alex as a junior. I mean, you got to be smiling, and I know no shade to you whatsoever, Shane, as far as being the gray beard, but you got to be smiling and knowing that you've got a young team and these kids can stick together for another 2 or 3 years, I guess. But what's the motivation behind everything?
The motivation behind those guys, or the motivation behind me?
Both. I'll use it as both situations.
I think those guys. I mean, you come to Hampden-Sydney. Basketball is a big part of it, but there's so much more to why you come here. So I think our attention is great because of what the school has to offer, along with the way the basketball program operates, and what we can do here. And I think a lot of those guys saw that. That's why they come here. So if you get that kind of talent in here, I mean, I feel like that's what we've had over the years. I mean, when we were able to keep guys together and develop chemistry in that way, and it's pretty special what you can do. And, that's exactly what this group is doing right now. I mean, you got guys that have been together now 2 years, and even if they're young, we just got to stick with it. I mean, this is a very, very, very talented group. And I'm really excited. I'm motivated every day to come in. I mean, we've worked through some frustrations together, and we'll probably continue to do that. But there's no lack of being excited to coach the guys, or just being like, it doesn't matter what you do. You just don't have the talent to get it done. You're going to have to scheme things up and so on and so forth. I mean, this group is like, man, we just have to stick with it. We've got to stay devoted to what we're doing, through the good, through the bad, just like put our heads down, roll our sleeves up type of deal.
Are you the architect of the schedule? I mean, I'm just sitting here looking at this. I mean,
what do you think?
I'm sitting here looking at lacrosse at 7. Of course, you got Macon in conference, and then you play in the Redlands coming up this week. So, I mean, is this retribution week or what?
Look, it's very difficult to win the ODAC. Very difficult. And that's a big goal of ours, is that we want to be playing our best ball, come that ODAC tournament. So one, we've made it to the ODAC tournament, and two, we can work to advance in the ODAC tournament, because we really feel like if you can get it done in the ODAC and you are lucky enough to advance past the ODAC, the sky's the limit, right? I mean, NCAA tournament is, it's matchups. There's going to be a little bit of, I don't want to say fully luck involved, but the matchup will mean something. It could be good matchups and bad matchups. But in the ODAC, man, when you see these guys every single night, there's such good coaches, such good players. I mean, there's so many good programs that we want to make sure we test ourselves. Like we don't want our non-league play to be fool's gold and just to, that would be selfish on my part. And when you're just trying to go, target what you think might be a win versus, I think we try to target teams that we think we're going to get exposed by.
Right.
Expose our weaknesses so we can correct them before we get into league play.
All right. So I didn't even mention the fact that you guys are playing in the Emory Holiday Classic. I mean, you got Maryville and Emory. So, I mean, is that to go down and have some fun, or y'all going to celebrate New Year's, or are we playing basketball?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. All of the above.
And then, you come right back. The conference heats up right on January 7th, or back up on January 7th. And then you got Roanoke, you got Virginia Wesleyan and Macon. At least you got a week or so in between those games. It's not exactly the gauntlet, but, what's the status on that? I mean, how do you look at those games and prep for those, just coming up? You got to be looking at it. And Shane, I know you just don't sit there and look at the schedule and Roanoke disappears, Virginia Wesleyan disappears, and you're looking at everybody else. There's no way that happens.
Yeah, I think for us, we really emphasize the next game is the biggest one. We really prepare. The coaches prepare in a certain way for each game. And I don't think we look over anybody. It's really hard to win in college basketball, and it's especially hard to win in the ODAC. So you can't really look over anybody. I think once Wednesday and Saturday picks up, and you get in that flow of, playing Wednesday, you got 2-day prep for your Saturday game. You don't take them lightly. It's really hard to win in the ODAC, really hard to win on the road in the ODAC. So I think we just approach every game with the same mindset. Obviously there's bigger games with, bigger crowds or, implications of ODAC tournament play or whatever it may be. But I think we just approach it the same way each and every time. And that way, we don't, our emotions aren't all over the place, or our minds aren't, spiraling. We're focused on where we are, and kind of go about it that way instead of letting the moment get too big or distract us in any way.
Shane, for you, kind of go back to that defense and rebounding. With you have 3 guys who were top 20 in the conference in rebounding so far. You guys, like I said, are 3rd in the conference in defense. Just how physical are the Caleb Kimbrough practices, and how much that competition help you guys in the season?
Yeah, obviously they're great. Sometimes our coaches actually hop in to play with us, and that makes it extremely physical. They asked us why we pick up the physicality, why we pick up the intensity when they get in. We don't want to lose to a bunch of old guys, So when they get in there, we play hard. But and just in general, we talk a lot about our best competition to us is going to be ourselves. We know everything that's going to happen. You know how the defense is going to play in practice. And are you still able to execute? Are you still able to get to your spots in those ways? So the practices are definitely intense, mentally and physically. I think you have to be prepared with a focused mindset to get through one of them. And I think, we talk a lot throughout a practice of like what we need to do. Like we stop it and kind of talk about the next thing. So I think it's really beneficial for us to work through our mistakes with a lot of physicality. We talked earlier, me and Coach were talking about how good our backcourt is with Tug and Travis going at it every day. And just like how that's the best competition that they're going to see all year because those are the 2 more, talented guards in the ODAC. So, they're intense for sure. They're competitive. And we've kind of found out with this team is a competitive practice is a good practice for us. If we're not competing, then, we didn't have a great one. But when we compete, it's really good basketball and it's a really good practice.
And then also for you, as a senior, you are playing these high-profile, non-conference games, and you get into ODAC play. What role do you play, or what advice do you give these younger guys who maybe have some playing time but are kind of getting into the thick of it?
Yeah, I think the advice that I looked for when I was younger and the advice that I like to give now is get outside of yourself. It's really easy in one of those big games is like, how can I do this? How can I score this many points? But if you really get outside of yourself and like, how can I help my team win? How can I get my teammate open? I think it's a much easier and like stress-free mindset. Because if you mess up, you were messing up, trying to do what's best for the team, rather than, getting internal and, oh, I missed this shot or I missed this defense assignment. That gets really stressful. That gets really hard. You let your emotions kind of run wild. But if you focus on the team, focus on others, it's really easy to know, like, oh, someone makes a big play, you're excited. Someone dives on a loose ball, you're there to help them up. So I think really focusing on the guys rather than yourself, such an easy thing to do in a crazy environment to kind of calm yourself down, be where your feet are and get the most out of the game.
Coach and Shane, I'll let you both answer this, but how much better does the ODAC make you guys if the ODAC is strong from top to bottom? And, we'll always talk about Macon. We'll always talk about Virginia Wesleyan. Wesleyan, I think their only losses to La Crosse, I believe. I think it's the same team you guys lost to off the get-go. WNL, their only losses to Trine. But I'm talking about teams such as Lynchburg, such as my hometown, Averett Cougars, and I'm going to need y'all to take it easy on January 24th when you make your road trip, by the way. So I just want to let you know that up front. And then someone such as Gregory's alma mater, EMU, it looks like they've been giving everybody a hard time this year. So just kind of curious about those teams.
Yeah, I think everybody in the league is good. You got to be prepared every single night. Everybody's trying to make the jump. I remember when I first got into the league, or back into the league, taking this job, we were at the bottom of the league, and you're fighting just to try to progress and grow and become, one of the teams that could sustain being close to the top, give you a chance to win it and continue to play. And I think everybody's doing that. I think you could go down the line, Ferrum's out of the league now, but Corrigan was doing an amazing job there. I think Melvin up at EMU, we played against each other when he went to Roanoke. He was a heck of a player, and he had those guys ready to go. We should have lost that game. They call a foul on a 3 at the buzzer pretty much. And it's going to be like that every night. You can never. It's just really hard to win a basketball game, and you've got to approach every game the same way, regardless of who your opponent is. It's just as far as your mentality and being in attack mode and the intensity at which you got to play on both ends and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't think you take anybody for. Duino's been getting it. He got it done for forever. I never take Duino lightly, or Lynchburg. Hillary. He's the same way. You didn't even mention Roanoke, WNL. There's these guys. There's so many teams, man. You go down.
And Coach, I want to ask you. Sorry about that. For a second, Coach, I want to ask you about kind of roster playing. I think you guys go 9 players deep, maybe. I think you all played 7 games. How do you see that working out in the early in the season? Maybe getting kids PT, kind of see what lineups work, and then kind of how that ends up towards the end of the season. Yeah,
I guess we're looking for there's some non-negotiables, with our expectations. Like we're looking for guys that, how are you impacting winning, and then how are you trying to do the things that we're talking about, specifically when it comes to defense and rebounding. And Shane on this call, Shane makes mistakes all the time when it comes to like the defensive end of the ball, but he impacts the game so much in the way that he can pass and his IQ and really like his enthusiasm and the fact that he's been around and understands what it takes to get it done at a high level. So, he's invaluable to the team. And I think there's a lot of guys that, people haven't seen big minutes from or seen minutes from at all, like on our team, that I think, we really need to take that step, and a lot of times it's just like the consistency in practice. We've practiced 1 million times by now already. We've only played 7 games. And I think, a lot of times, especially a young player wants to say, well, they need an opportunity to prove what they can do in a game. And it's like, no, you need to show the team, you need to show the team that you consistently do what needs to be done in practice. And that might get you an opportunity in the game, force the coach's hand. They've got to put you in. And then when you get an opportunity, what are you going to do with it? So I think, not seeing 9 guys, like I don't know if our rotation will tighten up and you'll see less guys, more minutes. I think I'm hopeful that maybe it'll even expand a little bit as we move forward. I think there's some guys that could really add to what we're doing, but that's what we're looking for. I mean, we're just watching film every day and trying to help guys just be consistent in whatever it is that we need them to be consistent in, and then making sure they're definitely doing that in things that we hold as non-negotiables.
Shane, who based piggybacking on Coach right there, who on the roster is somebody that we could look out for the upcoming year?
Yeah, I think the 2 names when Coach was talking, who I thought of was one, number 0, Davis Cobble. He's a senior as well. He hasn't seen a lot of minutes in his previous 3 years, but I think he chips at it every day in practice. He's one of our best offensive guys. He makes some incredible shots in practice. But another one I think is Asa Williams. He's number 15. He's found some spot minutes this year, but I think he's going to be a huge part of what we do this year, just because he's so when I talk about with Santana, he's so versatile. He's strong. He's kind of a quicker guy. He can kind of play the 4, like a stretch 4 kind of deal, but he'll also get out on the wing and kind of operate from there. And then defensively, he's unreal. We make a joke about no one scores on Asa in practice. He's got a strong chest, quick feet. And he's really good. So I think those 2 are really good. But obviously, down the line, I could talk about these guys all day. Our practices are so competitive that everyone gives themselves a shot. So I think those 2 guys have really found out how to impact a practice and how to help guys get better as well as themselves too. So.
And then last one from me for both of you guys. To talk about the rest of the season, what does your best ball kind of look like getting into February, and what things do you guys need to improve upon to get to that point?
Yeah, I think our best ball and defensively is when Alex Cannon is locked in and controlling the paint. I think our team, plays with a different type of pressure, plays with a different mentality when he's around the rim blocking shots, or just altering shots, really. I talked about it earlier. We play a different type of defense when Alex is on the court. We step up, we pressure. We'd like to be doing that all the time, but we have the extra, layer of protection with AC at the rim. And then offensively, I think it's just like I talked about earlier, just the balance. I think we're so unpredictable. We have a lot of guys who can do a lot of things. I think once we figure out what guys, their strengths are, what works against certain coverages or whatever it may be. And then I think transition is our calling card. Obviously, we talked about our guards being dynamic earlier. I think if we can get them out in space along with Santana, we can be really dangerous in that way. So I think, embracing the fact that we have roles and we're going to figure them out along the way. There's phases of the season. It'd be great to be playing our best ball right now and throughout the entire year, but we know we keep growing towards that. But yeah, I think we're really dynamic. I think when AC is protecting the rim, we're a really good defensive team. I think once we embrace that identity, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Shane. I mean, I think our best ball, we're very unpredictable on both ends, but in a positive way. I think defensively, it's like, you're constantly going to need to be looking over your shoulder because we have the ability to pressure you. You don't know if we're going to switch. You don't know if we're going to hard hedge or soft hedge, or, we got guys that can come over and rim protect. So I think being unpredictable on that end and physical and aggressive is when we're going to look our best. And then the offensive end, I couldn't agree more. I think you're going to see a lot of, even scoring. Any guy on any given night. There's just a ton of versatility. And I think that's also the word unpredictable. I kind of lends to the way we'll look our best offensively too, right? I mean, you got moving the ball, the ball not getting stuck, sharing it, selfless, constantly looking to create for each other. And understanding, I think understanding what we want to do without getting into all the details of, of how we coach on both ends. But I would say that's a big word for us. Like, man, we want to be really unpredictable in a positive way on both ends. That gives us an edge and play with like a physicality and a toughness.
Before Gregor gets to this rapid fire, I had the final and probably the biggest question of all. Brazel last year kind of challenged District 2, and he was going to team up with Shane. And so I guess I'm going to include you in this on Coach. But it was going to be a two-man golf tournament. So I was just trying to find out if you were going to step in for Adam this year. And I guess it'll be either me and probably me and Devin have to play. But he told us we had to play in Farmville and we had to come to y'all's place to play. So they challenged us. And I said, well, I even pulled my clubs out of the mothballs last year and started hitting them around a little bit and not really got good. But, I started playing, but the call never came. So just hoping we could put this thing together maybe in the spring when it gets warmer.
Last time I checked, there's no Top Golf or putt-putt in Farmville. But if there's something else you're talking about, maybe we could go make it happen.
He put Shane in the mix, though. He said, Shane's good. Shane's good. I said, well, we got to get up there and play with Shane then. So
I think Adam's writing some checks that he can't cash.
Yes.
Throwing me out there on the golf course and now with Coach Kimbrough. Adam's the best golfer out of us three, obviously. But no, that's cool. I mean, it would be great to have you guys down here. Adam, come back. Maybe Coach wants to step in. Maybe we'll have a little more banter with Coach Kimbrough rather than good golf play, but it'll be great.
But let me tell you before we come and do this, tell everybody if that course is on somebody's in somebody's neighborhood, just tell them to put up a bunch of nets or bring in some tractor trailers or some semis and line the fairways because I can find every one of those houses in a window.
Yep, I'm right there with you.
All right, Shane, ready for some rapid fire?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. So either or questions, just give me the first thing that comes to your mind, okay?
Got it.
All right, buzzer beater or blowout win?
Buzzer beater.
Really? Okay. Like the anxiety at the end.
I just think it's cooler. Obviously, it'd be great to blow out everyone, but I think cooler.
All right. Do you prefer a film study day or conditioning weight room?
Oh, film study. I mean, I'm a bigger guy, high IQ. I'd definitely love to break it down.
Pull up jumper or drive to the rim?
Drive to the rim. It's more physical. We don't really work on pull-up jumpers, so
Nice.
Drive to the rim.
Man-to-man or zone defense?
It'd probably save me a lot if we did zone, but I'll go with man. Just that's what we do. We hang our hat on it, so I'll go with man.
I don't know if Coach Kimbrough is happy with any of these answers so far. This has been kind of both sides. This is kind of weird. I think the older people kind of like one side, and the younger guys like the other one. So Powerade or Gatorade?
Oh, I'll go Gatorade.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you guys.
A lot of players have been choosing Powerade. I don't know if it's like an influencer on Instagram that's getting everybody on their side or what. So
I think our school is a Powerade school, so maybe they're influenced by that. But
oh man, okay, I see now. All right, so trash talker or let your game do the talking.
Ooh, that's tough. I'll go trash talking. It's subtle.
Really?
You might not see it sometimes, but sometimes I'll let it go. Depends on the game for sure.
I love it. All right, so this might be a little. Let's see what you go over here. Ankle breaker crossover or poster dunk?
Poster dunk for sure. I think it gets the crowd more involved. I think with like a highlight era, I think a ankle breaker is cooler. But I think for more like a game changing play, kind of momentum swing, I'll go with poster dunk.
So this question actually has come from previous interviews we did. So Carter Cito versus Shane Fernald on the course, 18 holes. Who wins?
I would need probably 25 strokes to get within a little bit of winning against Carter. Carter's really good. He probably undermined it when on his interview, but he's really good. Definitely Carter.
All right, this is more of a humbling type of question, okay? Some humility here.
Got it.
Would you rather have your shot blocked into the stands or dunked on?
Oh, shot blocked into the stands. For sure.
I think we could go undefeated with that one.
I think with AC, he does that enough. Block my shot in the stands in practice. I think a poster dunk is just, it's like, I can't do that.
Yeah, once it gets on social media, it's all over the place.
Yeah, you see it for a couple of years too, I'm sure.
Oof. All right, pregame meal.
Oh, probably pasta. Probably some sort of pasta. I think vodka sauce pasta is my favorite before a game.
And finally, pregame music?
Oh, I'm a big this is funny. I go like slower, maybe even a little bit sad. I don't get like this all like hype kind of rap music. I don't really get into that. I'm kind of calm myself down. I think I get hyped enough by myself that I need to calm myself down through the music that I play. I definitely go like sad, maybe even a little slow sad music.
So you and Adam must be hanging out before the games then, because he said he listened to classical music before he started for this game started, or something like that, some jazz or something like that.
Yeah, I think like Noah Khan's probably like a good bass line. I think that's where we kind of have some similarities.
I think he even went as far as saying Bieber.
Bieber, yeah.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Oh man,
if Adam was on the pregame. If he was on the speaker in the locker room, it was definitely Justin Bieber.
that's awesome. Oh man, what does Coach Kimbrough listen to in the locker room? You know anything on his playlist?
I think Christian music. He would go Christian music. He listens to the most. I think I asked him about his Apple Music replay, maybe Spotify, and that's what he came with, Christian music. He doesn't play it in the locker room though, but I definitely know he does it by himself.
So what kind of dancer is he? If he wins, does he dance? I mean, can he do it?
He's a hype guy. He's not a dancer. He likes to get in there, yell, pump his fist, bump into a couple of us, but he's not a big dancer.
So he won't break into a gritty, anything like that?
Coach Long might give you some dance moves. Coach Long would come in there and get hype. Coach Kimbrough is just a big yeller.
Oh man, VG, anything else?
I'm good. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all's time.
Yeah, Shane, Coach Kimbrough, thank you all for joining us again. We appreciate it, and just kind of talking about the season, and we look forward to watching you guys.
Appreciate you both. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Go Tigers.
That's it.